Hello and welcome. My name is Father William Maestri, and this is another edition of Overfed and Undernourished. And I brought along a football. Now, before you get all excited and saying that, oh no, another thing about sports or another thing about football, not really. This is a football, and you might wonder, what could football possibly have to do with political controversy? Well, if you stay tuned, I'll tell you. Last night, August the 27th, I'm filming this on August the 28th, the legendary, highly respected and sought after retired football coach Lou Holtz did something that turned many people off in the modern lingo. He spoke at the Republican National Convention, and he spoke about his deep commitment to being pro-life, especially defending innocent human life in the womb. Coach Lou Holtz, he is a native of West Virginia, a cradle Catholic, a devout Catholic, and still is a very devout and practicing Catholic. And he spoke about his deep commitment to the sanctity of all human life, from the moment of conception to the point of natural death, and how significant and important and fundamental this is to his life and to the importance of promoting life. And he mentioned, of course, that he, again, great coach at Notre Dame, who has been known for its football coaches, from Newt Rockne to Frank Leahy, Era Parsegian, and I'll even throw in Dan Devine into the mix. But Notre Dame's history of having outstanding football coaches is legendary. Movies have been made about them, so on. Lou Holtz is also much valued as a speaker, a motivator, much loved by his players. And parents and alumni just gravitate to the profound faith and commitment and excellence that Coach Holtz inspires in young people and really all who have heard him speak. And in his remarks last night, he mentioned, and it wasn't a long mention, but he mentioned that Democrats have nominated two of the most radical pro-abortion candidates, former Vice President Joe Biden and current Senator Kamala Harris, to be the head of the ticket, and they are incredibly pro-abortion. Even late-term abortions and what many consider to be, and in fact are, even infanticide, abortion when the child is even outside of the womb, unwanted by the mother. And he mentioned this. Well, the president of Notre Dame, priest, couldn't wait to get a statement out, couldn't wait to clarify and to make sure that Lou Holtz was not speaking for the university, or, advertised as the most preeminent institution of higher learning, Catholic institution of higher learning in the United States, and that this was certainly not the thinking or sentiments of Notre Dame. Now, Lou Holtz, of course, has a statue of himself that the university put up in front of the stadium. But they had to make sure that they distanced themselves from Lou Holtz's comments about being pro-life and about reference to Senator Harris and former Vice President Biden proclaiming publicly at every occasion their commitment to their Catholic faith. And even today, Friday, the 28th of August, Joe Biden went on one of these kinds of hookups and indicated that he was a faithful Catholic and fully participated in the Catholic faith, which really belies fact. On several occasions, Joseph Biden has been told by his bishop and bishops where he has visited not to receive communion because of his support for abortion, not only verbal support, but his voting support and his commitment to fund abortion throughout the entire process of pregnancy, even after the child is outside of the womb. And Senator Harris also professes to be a Catholic herself. And so Lou Holtz indicated and did not judge. He did not judge their character, he did not judge their soul, did not do any of that kind of stuff. But the president of Notre Dame, the preeminent Catholic Institute of Higher Learning, had to make it clear that we do not judge people. First of all, Coach Lou Holtz did not do that. And secondly, we only evaluate people or take people in terms of their sincerity. Now you have to let that roll around in your head for a moment. Father, sincerity is not the watermark or the test for one's moral judgment and moral action. It is called truth, moral truth. You know, that's Moral Theology 101. It's the seeking of truth. I hope we don't believe that parents are sending their sons and daughters to Notre Dame at great cost to become competent in sincerity, because Hitler, Stalin, Mao, Pol Pot, Castro, we could go on and on. I do not for a moment doubt their sincerity. I also do not doubt that they are sincerely wrong, that they are morally not given a pass because they were sincere. How many millions of people would they have to have killed, which they did, in order to prove their sincerity? I believe they're sincere. But it is moral truth, God's moral truth, and the sanctity of all human life that is really here. And it's very disappointing. It's not surprising, but it is disappointing to see that Notre Dame, its officials, the president of the university, could not wait to distance the university from the basic teaching of the Catholic Church. The basic teaching of the Catholic Church when it comes to respecting human life in all its forms. And it's not surprising, though. In 2009, Notre Dame invited then President Barack Obama not only to address its commencement exercises, but also awarded him with an honorary degree, which I, at the time, indicated I thought was very troubling, because we ought not to honor that which we most deeply disagree at the most fundamental principles of the moral law. That is, the sanctity of innocent human life. And we do not take human life. But Notre Dame had no problem awarding and giving President Obama the opportunity to address graduates and also to recognize him with an honorary doctorate from the university. Now, there are those Catholics, mainly politicians and those in public life, who advocate a kind of moral schizophrenia that we hear all the time. And it really goes back again to Notre Dame, and I think it was 1984, when then Governor Mario Cuomo was invited to speak on Catholics in public life and their moral obligations and responsibilities as Catholics. Former governor, now deceased and dearly departed and blessed, I hope. His son is now the current governor of New York. And in his talk, he said, and made this kind of schizophrenic or split-screen division between I am privately opposed to abortion, but publicly as an official, I have to carry out those particular duties. Oh, and it was hailed in many quarters as a tremendous moral breakthrough. The Church has never embraced such a schizophrenic or split-screen approach to moral judgment and to moral action. Let's apply the Cuomo test in this instance. I am an agent for the CIA. I am someone who is in charge of interrogation at Guantanamo Bay. And a group of people are brought in who are believed to be terrorists, actively involved in terrorism, and they have some information we need. And therefore, it is necessary for us to engage in enhanced interrogation, what many people call torture. And I do this. I engage in this enhanced interrogation or this torture, take your pick. And when this comes out, I say, oh, look, I am privately opposed to this technique. But since I am an official, I have to carry it out. It's part of my duties. And I'm sure the same bunch that applaud this kind of schizophrenia when it comes to abortion and the life issues would just embrace my great moral breakthrough. I doubt it. I would be called to do the honorable thing. I should resign. If I cannot carry out those duties, if I cannot sincerely, again, engage in that, then I should resign from that particular position as a witness and protest against that particular activity. And it's so unfortunate that once again, something as clear as Catholic responsibility, but it's not only Catholics. It's not only a Catholic responsibility. This is a fundamental, inalienable right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and life is first and primary, because without protecting life, all the other rights, all the other privileges, responsibilities, and duties mean absolutely nothing. Very simple. I can't claim a right or be expected to perform a duty if I'm currently dead. That's why life is primary. God is the Lord and giver of life. And we are called to protect that life, defend that life, enhance that life as best we can, especially of the innocent and the most vulnerable. We hear this all the time about the innocent and the most vulnerable. We have innocent projects, and we talk about the most vulnerable among us. But what about the most vulnerable in the womb? They have no one to speak for them. They have no lobbyist. They have no voting bloc. They have no one in public life with the megaphone that many today have. They're not funded by anyone, certainly not in government. And so, yes, these are the most vulnerable. Also the elderly, those who are very close to passing from this world into the next. We are now seeing more and more, once again, advocacy for euthanasia, or as it's called, death with compassion, physician-assisted suicide, all of the euphemisms that help to ease our conscience in terms of what we're really doing. So it's most unfortunate that the premier institute of higher Catholic education believes that the benchmark for moral action is sincerity. It's not. Once again, it's truth. And I simply would close with going to the Catholic Catechism. Catholic Catechism, and it says the following. The Catholic Catechism. Since the first century of the Church, it has affirmed the moral evil of every procured abortion, This teaching has not changed and remains unchangeable. Direct abortion, that is to say, abortion willed either as an end or as a means, is gravely contrary to the moral law. Formal cooperation, verbal, material, any kind of way, formal cooperation in an abortion commits a grave offense. The Church attaches the canonical penalty of excommunication to this crime against human life. From the Catholic Catechism, not from some sincerely held belief, not from some kind of theological speculation or musings. It's the teaching of the Catholic Church. And therefore, if one proclaims to be a faithful Catholic, participating in the full life of the Church, God bless him. Am I judging Joe Biden, Senator Harris? Not at all. That's above my pay grade. But I'm talking about words and actions. Words and actions can be judged. By your fruits you shall know them, says Jesus. And so, Lou Holtz, the great coach, came on television today and reaffirmed what he said last night, and said that I have grown up being taught from the beginning about the sanctity of life as a Roman Catholic. I am a practicing devout Catholic. I do not take back any single thing I said, because what I said is Catholic teaching, and it is taught by the bishops and by the Pope in the Catholic Church, and I do not apologize, and I do not take them back. In other words, what Lou Holtz did was, he took a little phrase from the Irish fight song, "Shake down the thunder from the sky." Unfortunately, when Lou Holtz did that, Notre Dame ran for cover.